Okay, so basically today's video is about risk management. So one thing I want to go over particularly is something I find I struggle with, and I realize that this can affect the market. This can affect how I perform in the market a lot. So I'll try to explain this to the best of my abilities, but basically there's a few things you need to know. First thing is, say we're trading an eval. I had an eval, it was a 25k eval. My profit target was 1500 and my loss was 1000. That was profit target, and that was max loss was 1000. All right, on my first trade, I ended up going down 100 negative. I went down 170 bucks. On my next trade, I went down negative 400 bucks. The only difference is that this negative 400 bucks should have been a positive 400 bucks, and I'll explain that in this right here. So this is the trade that I took. Ignoring what the trade actually is, I'm going to go over this really quickly. I took one mini. Let's go into paper. Let's just say, okay, I took one mini at a sell position, or one mini at a sell position right about here. My take profit was going to be for 1500, and my stop loss was set here at 1375. Now the risk management here was not that this was a bad trade necessarily, but my max loss limit is 1000. So something like this I can't necessarily attend for. The most I would be able to attend for is right around here, where I would get stopped out anyways, which means that my trade can only go about to here. So what I wanted to do here was risk losing $500, take 2 trades, and reach my profit target. To do that, I would need to risk no more than this right here, which is what ended up happening, and which is what made me lose the trade. So basically, price pushed up a little bit before pushing all the way down to my take profit. But because of how some of these evaluations work is that I got auto liquidated instantly, so price went up 400 bucks and instantly stopped me out, even though my threshold wasn't at a max 1000. I had a wiggle room of about 800 bucks to lose, counting the first trade I made, but it stopped me out at about around 400. And I realized that some prop firms, the way it works in evaluations is when you have such capital, say 25k capital, if price moves so quickly in drawdown, so in this scenario, price really shot right up, and it was really quickly, it was a very quick move, it will auto liquidate you and put you out of the trade. So one thing to look back on is, say we go on MNQ and we're trading MNQ instead of NQ. Let's just say it was here. We'll go back to the trade. Not quite sure where the trade is. So let's just say, for example, we enter off of this IFEG. Put our stops here, and let's say we're aiming for these lows. It's almost a 1.5 risk to reward. I want this risk to be set at my 500 bucks. I'm risking $500 USD price. Okay. That's what I want. So now when we look at quantity here, how it says 5.464, that means I can trade up to 5 of my go units. I can trade up to 5.4. If we put our position here in the sell, our stop loss would be around 500 bucks. Yeah, perfect. That would mean take profit around the same, but then if we push for lower, we could reach up to $900. That means I can make around 2 trades and pass my account. So that's the really important thing about risk management, is you need to know how much you're risking per trade, and that could really determine whether or not you will pass the account or blow the account just because of certain stupid rules. But yeah, that was a really big thing I noticed, and I bet even for myself, if I continue to look at this risk management and I determine what's good and what's not good, I could really show for what needs to happen to pass these accounts. So again, if we just go over this one more time, we'll have our long position here, we'll have our short position here. If we right click, go into settings, we make sure to put it at the price, which is USD, and risk. So say I'm willing to risk $500, I would put $500. Say I'm willing to risk $1,000. Now if we check here, that means to risk $1,000, when I'm at here, this is my stop, I move it. If I move my stop to here, that's 25 contracts will be my $1,000 for risk here. But if I move it all the way to here, I only need to risk three contracts, and for this entire range to equal up to $1,000. See, if we go all the way to the top there, that's 3 contracts, put 3 units. Let's move it up to the line. As you can see, it should go all the way to, it should show my 1,000 mark. Push, and that's $1,000 right there. So that's something to look back on. Just set it on both this one and this one. Get it on your longs and your shorts, and that should do a lot with future trades. But yeah, it's always something to look back on. Peace.